With the several recent Supreme Court decisions affirming the Second Amendment, as well as a rather popular interview over on Fox News, wherein the president of Brazil came out and he explained how making it easier for ordinary citizens to own guns actually reduced the murder rate, well, I thought it was a good idea to publish an interview, to share an interview with you that I had conducted a while ago. Because you see, back in the year 2020, I interviewed a man named Maj Touré, who is the co-founder of an organization called Black Guns Matter. However, back then, back in the year 2020, at least in the beginning part of the year 2020, Facts Matter still hadn't come into existence. And so we didn't publish the interview, quite frankly, because I did not have a platform to publish it on. However, I rewatched that interview recently, and I was amazed at how what we discussed back then is as relevant today as ever before. And so I wanted to publish it now. Take a listen. And by the way, as a super quick aside, I hope that if you enjoy content like this, you take a super quick moment to smash that like button so the YouTube algorithm will be quite literally forced to share this video out to ever more people. And also, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel as well. That we can get this type of honest news content delivered directly into your YouTube feed every time we publish it. And now, the co-founder of Black Guns Matter.
Maj Touré, founder of Black Guns Matter, firearm safety and conflict resolution organization. We do that in all of the areas where there's high homicide, high gun control, because those things usually go hand in hand. And just go into the areas that are usually left out of the conversation on conservative values and liberty values. That's where we go. That's the community I'm from. That's the community we got a lot of work to do in, and we already did.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what you said is interesting. Gun control goes along with high homicide rates.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that is?
Because if there's 1,000 bad guys in one city where there's very few people armed to be a deterrent, it's like, pardon the expression, shooting fish in a barrel. In areas that have more, respect for the Second Amendment and Americans' ability to defend themselves, we have less violent crime. Yeah. If I'm the weirdo rapist, if there's a 70% chance that, this young lady coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning is armed and trained and a safe and responsible gun owner, I'm gonna think twice about trying to rape her. So historically, what we see is areas that have more of a respect for the Second Amendment has less violent crime. Over the last 10 years, as violent crime has plummeted, licenses to carry have went up, and so it's just really kind of like Dr. John Lott did some great work in a book called More Guns, Less Crime a few years back, and it's an excellent study of how that deterrent, that respect for property, and I'm not violating anybody else's property because I don't want to be violated, and I don't want anybody to violate me. That translates into very simple cliches like an armed society is a polite society. So the data is clear, it's there, and we utilize it to strengthen America, working specifically, not limited to, in urban America.
So speaking of urban America, right, why do you think it is that this kind of mindset of more laws, more anti-gun laws, will translate to lower crime rates? Why do you think?
Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repetitively and expecting different results. And it's political insanity. And it's just a talking point to people that are unaware. When you don't have the data or the information or you're misinformed, you want to feel like safe. You want to feel like you're informed. And leftist politicians a lot of times, and again, these are our brothers and sisters on the left and right. So I'm not saying this as an aside to attack, it's just the reality. When you have those talking points that happen to sometimes show up on the left, that person says things like, oh, we have to do something. No, we don't just have to do something. We have to do what works. Yeah. What is going to minimize trauma? What is going to get our young people? 60% of the 30,000 to 40,000 gun-related deaths annually are suicides. How are we going to reach our young people, the big chunk of those deaths? How are we going to make them feel whole? Make them know that they're a part of this American dream. Make them know that they're a part of freedom and liberty. That is a more preventative measure, but that involves work. That involves changing some of our social constructs. That involves information, and that isn't easy as a soundbite as we have to do something. So instead of just doing something that doesn't work, let's do something that has been proven to work. Yeah. We already know, that more gun control laws and things of that nature do not work. We have actually seen since 1990, when gun-free zones were created, we've seen over 90% of mass shootings happen in gun-free zones. Yeah. It does not work. If you are serious, politician, citizen, whatever, if you are serious, we have to look at what actually works and apply that. And what works is educating people and informing the people on firearm safety, conflict resolution, de-escalation, and then you get a populace that's in alignment with the Constitution and our human rights as stated in the Bill of Rights.
You know, I was just speaking with somebody from Brazil, and it was the son of the president of Brazil right now.
Yeah.
He's a conservative, and he was telling me how in Brazil, the big problem that they have is that they have this new conservative surge, and they have a conservative president, but all the institutions are socialist.
Yep.
And part of the problem is that they don't have a culture of
Right.
like America does, right? And they don't have these great thinkers, these great conservative thinkers like America does. And it seems like what you're doing is really introducing that philosophy,
Yeah.
because that's where it's actually going to
Yeah,
come from.
you can't. I mean, to preach to the choir is one thing. We come to CPAC. We know it's great to have meetings of the minds. That's great.
Yeah.
The people in here that learned from my presentation on the main stage just now, and the people are supposed to take that back to their communities and reach the people that have been told by certain media outlets, oh, this is a Klan rally. Every black dude that's in here is a sellout. Nah, and a part of that problem is because the conservative voices that happen to be melanated a lot of times are corny. The hood ain't corny, and we don't relate to that. The reason why our work at Black Guns Matter has taken off is because we relate. We understand. I'm not gonna get mad at a guy that sold weed that has a felony on his jacket for a non-violent offense. I'm not gonna I don't think that guy should be have his ability to voice himself through vote or through defending him and his family's life should be suppressed because he sold cannabis. You know, so a lot of times we had conservatives that wouldn't agree with that. You know, they would go, yeah, that guy should be locked up. That guy shouldn't have his rights, and that's just fundamentally wrong. And it's not in alignment with what the founding fathers believed. The founding fathers had hemp farms. You know, so saying this to say, the fundamental conversation of freedom is something that needs to happen. It's something that this room has to learn from me and our presentation, take that back to their community, and vice versa. They have to develop liaisons with people like me that actually have the ear of hoods across America, like not just, you know, yelling for one particular administration. Conservative values extend past any administration. You know, this is how we make this have more, you know, legs. This is longevity. You know, and these are the things that we have to do. I think the CPAC does a great job of that, even giving someone like me from the demographic, from everybody in here, no, I'm from the hood, period. I live in the hood, I'm gonna stay in the hood. Our classes are in hoods across America. But the fact that they're doing that speaks to, one, the need, and the guys, you know, Matt and Dan doing the work, and Ian doing the work, and knowing that there's conservative voices that are not corny, that are from the demographic, that listen, that we're developing those liaisons. Otherwise, you know, it takes you more time to get the same thing accomplished. You know, so that's a kudos to them tremendously for doing that, and, you know, making the main stage available to us at Black Guns Matter.
All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment, I wanted to mention that the sponsor of today's episode is a super cool company called Sekur. And they're a cool company for people that actually care about their privacy. Because listen, if you don't think that these giant tech conglomerates and all these different alphabet agencies within the US government are spying on your messages, well, then frankly, you are not paying enough attention to the news. However, all that can be in the past, because with Sekur, they have awesome proprietary technology that has all your messages and all your emails actually go through Switzerland as they're making their way back and forth between you and your recipient. And so let's say you're here in America and the person you're messaging is over in Canada, Mexico, or anywhere else in the world. Well, it doesn't matter, because all your messages are actually going through Switzerland back and forth from one to another, meaning that they are not subject to the Cloud Act, and they are only subject to Swiss laws, which are some of the safest in the entire world. Their technology is awesome, it's proprietary, and they're a company that actually cares about your freedom. They care about getting the facts out, which is why they sponsor a company like ours. And best of all, they are offering a 25% off deal for our viewers, for the viewers of Facts Matter. So head on over to Sekur.com and use promo code Roman to get 25% off. And the rates are not even that expensive to start with. It's only $5 for the messenger and $10 for the email and messenger combo. And they even offer a 7-day free trial. So again, head on over to Sekur.com, use promo code Roman, save some money, and support an awesome sponsor.
You had a lot of pushback in your own community when you came out as a conservative?
No, not at all. Most of the hood is conservative. You know, so for example, everybody's mom or dad in the community in the wintertime, close my door, you're letting the heat out. That's translatable across most hardworking families. Hey, okay, I'll make a good way for myself, but you're not gonna heat the streets up. That's a conservative and fiscally responsible thing to say. You know, when you're talking about locking your door at night, I don't know who's outside, I don't know them. These are conservative values. As if anybody that's listening to that, if they're from Detroit, Chicago, Compton, whatever, Philadelphia, they identify with that. The problem is the messaging. The left has better PR, traditionally. And a lot of the people that we have picked in a lot of these spaces, just because they're black and conservative, does not mean that the hoods are going to listen to them. And we need hoods involved. New York, 7, 8 million people at any given time. New York's not in that same city, is not in that same chaotic leftist agenda if we would have been galvanized in New York for a very long time. That's true of every urban demographic, you know, so I don't get pushback in my hood. The hood loves me. I have respect all across the nation because of our work. We raised $280,000. Our classes are free. Free in the sense of other people have paid it forward. They volunteered. This ain't taxation where we taking it from people. The people decided to say, hey, Maj, we're gonna donate $500, $100, $1,000. Gun Owners of America gave us $25,000 last week so we can do 10 cities and do this outreach so the people that need this information can come to these classes and learn basic firearm safety, conflict resolution, de-escalation, and that turns into a political voting block. They can come do that for free. We removed that financial barrier to entry, all off voluntarism. So we get our social, and charitable, contribution there. If people want socialism, this is a small, slight form of that, without redistributing wealth. People volunteer to do this, and that's a beautiful thing. And so, the hood love it. When you go in and you inform people about these things and tell them, hey, the guy and the women that you've been voting for forever are actually doing things that are going to restrict you. They love you forever for, taking the wool from off of their eyes. And that's the response that we get in every hood across America, all of the time. There's no Antifa or protests in front of our classes. One, we all got guns in there.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That's one. And two, it's the hood love it. We don't bash people on the left. We know that they don't have an understanding right now because we haven't read the same books. That's all. And they're still our brothers and sisters on the left. That's all it is.
So to wrap up, maybe in 30 or 60 seconds, what would you tell somebody who's not on the left, not on the right, they're in the middle, they're maybe not sure about gun rights, they've never been taught why America needs guns, why the Second Amendment is important, but all they get is the mainstream media narrative. What would you tell them? I
would tell them that you're being lied to by design. Some small, even people that identify as the left, their actual life isn't left. They're just voting that way. I would tell them that the people that you've trusted, rightfully so, have betrayed your trust. They've told you something that's in alignment with lining their pockets and not strengthening you. They've given you free things for your enslavement, and it's not free. Freedom and free stuff is not free. Someone's paying for these things. So I would, challenge them to look into your political choices, especially on a local level, and evaluate that very objectively. If a politician is telling you that you shouldn't have the means to defend yourself with a firearm, should you need, and I hope you never have to. If that politician is saying you shouldn't have a firearm, but he or she is walking around with an armed detail, that is a contradiction. And why would you continue to vote for someone that's a walking contradiction of something that fundamental? Your human right to defend yourself as stated in the Second Amendment. So that's what I would share with them. Use that as the litmus test and make objective decisions based on a full spectrum of information.
That's great. Thank you so much, Maj. Thank you for being on.